I will say, Kyle mentioned snakes. One of the few official snake handling churches is about 20 minutes from my home. And I do know people who go there. It's the one, if you kept up with it a couple years ago, the pastor died because he was bit to death by snakes during a service. I am pretty close to one of those. So that is a thing around here.
What a retard. It would have been funny if you just said car accident and just moved along.
Fucking moving.
The pastor of that snake handling thing died.
Spider bite. All you had to say was, it was the one that, and I was like, I bet it was the one where someone died because they get bit by a goddamn fucking poisonous snake because they wave them around there. That's probably what happened. Those people deserve it. I love when it happens. They should be refused treatment.
So it's interesting. I did like it was for my occult video I did a while back. I looked into like how that started and everything, and it actually didn't begin until the 50s. And there was this one evangelist that went around, and he was specifically quoting in the New Testament whenever Jesus is talking to the disciples, and he tells them, if you do work in my name, no harm will ever befall you. And he says, you will walk through fire and not be burnt. Blah blah blah. You will pick up serpents and not be bit. Yeah, you'll pick up. And what Jesus was saying there was like, if you're doing my will, then you're going to be protected. Don't worry about that. He was not saying that. Yeah, well, if you believe in God, just like grab a bunch of snakes.
You can literally
like
pick up serpents. Right. Kids, I'm talking about children, 8 to 12 years old. Listen to me. You can literally fly. Jump off your roofs and fly into the night. Like
literally.
Yeah, that whole thing.
Today's announcement, I have realized and learned the definition of the word literally.
No, that guy who started the whole thing died during a service in, I think it was Alabama, while he was handling snakes. But that's where like that whole ideology comes from and everything.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was that recent.
I knew that people, still do it. You know,
I thought that it had been around for forever. I mean, I knew that people still do it, but I just thought it was old.
So it has been done in like old societies and cults, but not in the evangelical Southern Baptist way until like post World War II. There's a lot of stuff about the evangelical movement that happened in the South post World War II, things like that. The older ideas of like colonial America, the idea of the penitent sinner who needs to like earn their holiness to stand before God, that started to make a big comeback around the same time. And a lot of stuff like that still exists in the South to some degree. But yeah, snake handling wasn't a thing in Christian churches until after World War II. Yeah, 50s.
I had no idea. I figured that was an old practice. Very interesting.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's always been like cults and societies that have like carried snakes and stuff, but just not in that attitude. At least not to any degree that it was like a known practice. I believe the one nearby that does it is a Pentecostal church. I know there's holiness churches that do it. Things I don't think any Baptists. It's more so like the spiritual or with experience-based belief systems. They're the ones who are primarily a thing with that.
I could get into a snake religion.
What's the survival rate for their like high-ranking?
Cal had a 180. He's immediately like, yeah, actually, it's kind of cool.
Yeah, I'm down.
I don't want to like handle the snakes. I think maybe like some snake worship though.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, that makes more sense. Yeah, gotcha. What were you saying, Josh?
I mean, like handling snakes in church, like it's kind of like daring God, isn't it?
Well, that's what I was telling them about while you were gone. It's from whenever Jesus told the disciples that you can pick up snakes and not be bit. They're just like, oh, okay, he said so.
They took it literally.
Just latching on to that of all things.
There is, it's actually kind of interesting. If you look at a lot of a more like, I don't want to say orthodox, it's more so like the American traditional religious movements, a lot of the branching off that happened with those literally came from like 1 or 2 verses in the Bible where they're like, oh, this is our thing now. Let's hyper focus on this part.
Right.
And then they kind of focused with that as they went through the years, and that kind of developed and became its own thing, like with the snake handling churches.